It's Nix with a K. Hey.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back to me, for tuning in. If you're new, welcome. Hey. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the dirty word that is credit. A lot of you guys have reached out to me and asked me questions, asked me to explain it, asked me how to improve your credit score. So what I'm going to do is just give you a couple of tips to help you on your way. Looking at these things, what a financial institution wants to understand is what kind of borrower you are. Do you pay things back on time? Do you go over your limit? Do you only pay the minimum payment? Do you pay more than the minimum payment? How much of your available credit are you actually using? And how much in total are your debts? These are factors that are looked at when considering how high your credit score is. Another thing that we will look at is your payment history. Do you pay your bills on time? Do you have to get final demands? The things to consider are public records. Do you have any CCJs against your name? Have any of your accounts actually gone from a bank to a debt collector? For example, not even just the bank. Let's take your direct debits, for example. Have you ever had your monthly mobile phone bill? You're not paying it, you're not paying it, you're not paying it. That account then gets taken from your network and goes to a third party. These things will have a negative effect on your credit report. So even though it may not necessarily be credit from a financial institution such as a bank, you are still borrowing a service. You're still using, should I say, a service. And that service you have agreed to pay on a monthly basis. So things like this will have a detrimental effect on your credit report. Another thing that can affect your credit report is multiple searches. So if you're constantly applying for loans, applying for credit cards, even contracts, constantly applying and getting rejected, this is going to continue to have a negative effect on your credit report. It's almost like a catch-22. What you need to do is wait 3 months. You need to have a clear history for 3 months. That means no returned payments. That also means no searches, just managing your account normally, paying back on time, getting your salary fed into things. These will help to boost your credit report. Yeah? You want to check if you're eligible for a type of credit, loan, overdraft, or credit card, then you can do things like soft searches. A lot of places will provide a quote before they go ahead and score you. This will not have an impact on your credit report. These are the things that you should be doing for applying, and this will prevent constant declines. Another thing to think about is, do you actually check your credit report? Have you looked at your credit report? Do you know your credit score? Not only do you know your credit score, have you checked the file to make sure the information is correct? Because actually checking your credit report to make sure the information is correct is key, because people at your address, not necessarily you or your family, could have negatively impacted your credit report without you knowing. So it is key to actually look and understand, was these transactions you? Did you borrow this? Were you living at this address at this time? It's very important to keep your address updated so that your credit report is as accurate as possible. You could have credit open, so you could have a credit card open that you never use. This can potentially impact your credit report because a higher credit limit in total can have a negative impact, because it looks like you borrow a lot of money. Even if you don't actually use it, don't have it, close it. Not important, you don't need it. Make sure you constantly manage that credit report. I cannot emphasize this enough. Knowing your credit report, knowing your score will help you when the time comes that you need lending. It is key to know this information. A lot of credit reports, Experian, Equifax, Call Credit, they are all free. So there is no excuse. There's apps that you can get. ClearScore. ClearScore is an app you can use on your phone. You can check it on a monthly basis. They'll email you, send you updates. It is important to keep on top of this. And another thing that can help you is making sure you're registered on the electoral roll. I say something that may seem a little controversial or go against everything your parents have ever taught you. Credit cards can also be a good way to help boost your credit score. The problem with credit cards is not the credit card. The problem with credit cards is you. And when I say you, I mean me too. Some of us are guilty of seeing that balance and thinking that's our money. We don't think about the long run of having to then go and pay this back. But credit cards, when used correctly, are a really good way to help boost up your credit score. There are lots of different types of credit cards and they have multiple uses. So for somebody who's just starting off, trying to build up their credit report, there are credit cards specifically for that purpose. They'll give you a low balance. Sometimes they tend to have a high interest rate, but this is where you want to be paying the full monthly payments, the full balance, sorry, every month. You don't want to be doing the minimum payments because you're going to be paying a lot back in interest. But if you borrow, you can get some credit cards that have up to £500. If you set up a direct debit, you pay the full balance every month. That will show that you're a responsible borrower. And then in the future, you can look at credit cards with potentially a lower interest rate. Another type of credit card that you have are specifically for purchases. So they'll give you an interest-free period for a set amount of time. It's important to understand that once that set time is finished, you will then be paying interest on what you borrow. If you pay it back constantly every month and don't just pay the minimum payments, you'll never get caught out and you'll have 0% purchases on a credit card. What do I mean by this? So yes, there are specifically some credit cards with 0% purchases, that's for a set time, but a lot of credit cards, you need to read the terms and conditions, will say if you pay the balance back, it's usually around 56 days, if you pay that full balance within that time, you will not incur any interest charges. That's why I say it's in your best interest to pay the full balance every month and you won't incur any interest charges. People who already have a high balance on your credit card and you're just trying to pay it off. Lots of credit cards from different providers offer something called a balance transfer. They will usually give you a set amount of time for free. So you'll have maybe 26 months interest free. You transfer the balance, you usually pay a fee to transfer the balance, but then for that set amount of time, you're again not paying interest on that balance and you can use that time to pay it off slowly. So it's almost like a short-term loan without you agreeing what the monthly payments are. But again, this is where you need to be strict with yourself and you need to make sure that you are making the efforts to pay that off by the interest-free period, or you're going to be stuck in the same position you already are. For my people who love to travel, there are two types of credit cards. So there is the rewards-based credit cards, and those aren't just air miles. You could build up rewards in lots of different ways. So you can have a Sainsbury's one that will offer you Nectar points that you can then redeem in any kind of way that you want to. Or you have things like American Express, Virgin, or BA, where you can simply build up air miles. With these reward type of credit cards, these are for people who know how to use their credit card simply almost like a debit card. So you have to be strict with yourself and know that if I'm going to be using my credit card as if it's my debit card, you need to have that monthly payment for the full balance set up so that it's coming out every month. And this is how you will build up your rewards quickly especially if you want things like air miles. The other type of travel credit card that you have may offer you commission-free spending abroad. With these credit cards, you would need to search for them specifically, things like Money Supermarket. It is important when you have a credit card that you are strict and you understand your payments. That is the key to having a credit card. It's not that let's not borrow money, da 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 da. You need to understand how you pay it back, right? With a credit card, there's always three options to pay it back: full balance, minimum payment, or you control it. If you're anything like me, and you know if you see money you're going to spend it, having things like a direct debit for the full balance, having them set up already, gets you out of trouble. You know it's paid off, you know you're not paying interest. If you can't afford to do that, if you're trying to get out of the spiral of paying off so much debt, then yes, you have your minimum monthly payments, but just know if you're not in an interest-free period, you may pay a lot more back in interest, but you've got to do what's best for you. When you control your payments, so the third option, if you're there going to control how much you're paying on a monthly basis, let's say your income isn't regular, so you don't get a set amount every month, so it's hard for you to budget, then yes, making those payments, at least you know 1 month I can pay a little bit more, 1 month I can pay a little bit less, but you always need to pay at least what the minimum is on your bill. Always pay attention to the minimum payment. Making the minimum payment will not get you into things like county court judgments or third-party debt collectors. That is the things that we definitely want to avoid. The aim is always pay it off full every month. If we can't do that, then the minimum payment. Minimum payment is the bare minimum because we don't want to get ourselves into a spiral of debt. Another reason why credit cards are good is because you have a payment protection on them. So for example, certain products, anything that you pay over £100 on your credit card is then protected. If you don't receive that product, if you don't go on that holiday, then it is in the company's interest to get that money back. If you think about it, that money's not your money, it's their money. So they want that money back. So yes, you will be protected. Remember, it is only on things over £100. To know what the exact limit is, check your bank or building society or whoever provides your credit card. Life, there are always pros and cons. If you know you are the kind of person that cannot borrow and pay back when you need to, then the credit card may not be the right thing for you. But only you can make that decision. What I want you guys to understand is there is a way to have a credit card sensibly, and there is a way that you can use it to build up your credit, to protect yourself from payments, and also just as an emergency. Sometimes you aren't going to get paid, especially in today's climate. Look at everything that's going on. People have been put on furlough, people unfortunately have been made redundant. In that short-term stopgap, a credit card can be a great thing. But if you know you are not the kind of person that cannot borrow and pay back in the right time frame, then don't put yourself in that position. Another thing I want to say to you guys to think about: when you have lots and lots of debt, looking at consolidating your debt, a way to do that could potentially be with a personal loan. When you take out a personal loan to consolidate debt, you need to make sure you then cancel all other debt forms, whether that's your credit cards or your overdraft. You need to make sure that all of that is cancelled and that you're doing one monthly payment and paying off that large balance. When you think about a credit card, it is short-term borrowing. When you look at a personal loan, it's on a longer term basis. That is for when you have a much larger amount of debt. Granted, you may already put yourself in a negative position and are not then offered a personal loan, What you don't want to do is then go to those companies that offer them at these ridiculous interest rates, because you're just going to stay in this spiral of debt. You need to protect yourself. Just do the minimum payments. If you can't do that, your bank or building society have a team, a collections team that can help you sort yourself out financially. Do not hide under the rug. Speak to someone, get someone's help. You have things like Citizens Bureau. These are key things that can help you manage your finances. It's time. Video is for all people, right? So it's for all my savvy savers, for my people who manage their credit correctly, for people who are just treading above water, and those who are in financial difficulty. I beg, I beg anyone who is in financial difficulty, now is not the time to bury your head in the sand. With everything that's gone on in the world at the moment, banks and building societies are doing everything they can to help you guys become more financially literate. This is one of the reasons why I want to make videos like this, because I want to help people take back control of their finances, understand that credit isn't a bad thing, but learning how to do it in a sensible way. If you need help, banks, building societies, Citizen Advice Bureau, the best places for you. Please message me if you have any questions. Instagram is probably the best place to reach me at it's Nick_XO, just there for you. Or on Twitter, it's the same, at it's Nick_XO. You can also email me if you have any questions, or comment below. Please share this with anyone you think it might help. Subscribe, turn your notifications on, like, comment, get in touch, guys, interact, talk to me. Really want to help you guys. This is something I'm so passionate about. Thank you for listening.